Hello, and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, a licensed clinical social worker, and we are very, very glad that you are joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And it's these times that I get really excited about not only being a social worker, but being involved with people who are actually making a difference every day in the lives of other people. Very glad to welcome to the program Hester Serrano. Hester, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you.
And I'd give your title, but I don't know if I have that much breath. So please tell us your title, if you don't mind.
So it is a long one.
Right.
I am the Reentry Program Manager for the Department of Corrections Division of Probation and Parole.
Probation and parole. It's something really important as we welcome sitting next to her, Spud McConnell. Spud, thanks for being here.
How you been?
I am well. Thank you very much. I am.
I know you're a very positive influence upon everybody when people come here. No matter how bad the day is going, they can always count on some positive notes out of you.
I appreciate that. And that's why I've done some acting, Spud.
Hey, I'm acting up. So that's why
That's what you
here.
do.
She's here to make sure she put a big thumb on my head to keep me
you
on.
both in line.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hester has she's got a large job, but she's also got a gun.
She's
So
got a gun and a
yeah,
badge. And
yeah.
nobody give her any grief.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And of course, Spud spends a lot of time working here with the Terrebonne Churches United Food Bank as our community relations director. And I will tell you, it's really exciting for me. And every time I talk with you and Lawrence about what's going on, Spud, it's nice to know that you guys are thinking outside the box. And you know, people need boxes of food, right?
And
But if
we
you
give
think
them out.
outside the box, you can really find a way to provide that to so many more people.
The cool thing about, Lawrence and I went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting and listened to different people talk about different things, and Hester stepped up to talk about reentry, and one of the reasons why we have such recidivism literally is because of food insecurity. And you've got people who are out on probation or parole who end up going shoplift or something because they're hungry. They're trying to feed their family. So that's right up our alley. So we get together with Hester afterwards, and now this is a pilot program in the state.
Wow.
Nobody else does this. We are going to provide food for parolees and probationers. We are also, though, going to open the doors and provide 8 at a time training in warehousing skills and forklift operations and such. It's going to be a 3-month-long thing for each person.
Okay.
And when they get out, they pass and get a letter of recommendation from us, and we got about 6 companies that are ready to hire them. So, you know, and I mean, this was all Hester. I mean, she's been looking for some way to do this, and we were just the other piece of the puzzle to get this thing rocking and rolling. But now, not only are we going to be feeding the people, we're going to be helping people get back on a straight and narrow, which makes our community that much safer.
Well, you know, Spud, you and Lawrence came on soon after that conversation, and it's remarkable that the idea has come to fruition so quickly. And that, I think, requires a great deal of passion. Hester, I know you have that passion for making sure that people are
Absolutely.
getting what they need. But I heard a statistic that 1 in 9 Americans go hungry. I would bet that the percentages for those people who are needing reentry are much, much higher than that.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't give you a statistic, but I guarantee you it's a lot higher than 1 in 9.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that first conversation and how you felt after you were able to talk with Spud and Lawrence about the possibility.
Oh my goodness. That is, so one of the things we did not identify with our Bayou Region Reentry team as a barrier to those returning is absolutely the food insecurity. You know, people coming back, they need to be able to put food on the table. They need to be able to provide for their families. And that's not easy in your first couple weeks home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that conversation was a big missing, it filled a big missing piece.
Yeah.
It just kind of brought that puzzle together. So it's still exciting. And to see it develop, it's wonderful.
Right. And it's one of those things to work really hard to get people to have some recovery. And it's interesting that we spend so much time talking about that right now, right? Recovery from all of the things that people are dealing with. But recovering from needing to and having to be in jail and then being able to come back and kind of become mainstream, you can't do that if you can't put food on the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
In our shoes, we couldn't do it without being able to provide for our families and put food on the table. So someone that's coming out of prison has that is a big barrier.
Yeah.
We're also talking about people who they don't have the social skills that have been progressing since they went in. And we talked about this, and you can listen to the podcast on the TCU Facebook page that when we talked about this the other day. There are people out there who have been incarcerated 2, 3, 4 years, so they know what these phones are like. But we're going to be dealing with people who've been in jail 15, 20 years. But lots of changes in all that time. And we were talking, I was asking Hester these questions. I mean, are we going to be responsible for like counseling them about what things are in daily life? And the answer to that is no, and yet yes. Because I mean, there will be counselors available to help, not only through Department of Corrections, but we know Spirit of Louisiana, or Louisiana Spirit is the name of it. That's my friend George Akonis.
Right.
But I mean, we try to make everybody at the food bank feel like family, and family members help family members. So if I see somebody not getting it, well, guess what? I'm pulling in the office and let's have a chat, you know? Because we want every one of these people to succeed. We want this program to succeed. We want this program to expand beyond the food bank, you know, because we're willing to take a risk. There are companies out there willing to take our word for what these people are capable of doing, men and women,
Right.
what they're capable of doing. But there ain't enough companies out there who are willing to take the chance on their own. So that's what we're hoping to prove. Is not only does this work, but it can work for you. And we'll still do the food part,
Right,
you know,
right.
if somebody other company does it.
Right.
But
The education piece is the other part that comes into that. And just talk about a lot of the things that Spud brought up about how it is that we can make sure that people are actually doing better when they come out than when they went in.
So this is the really exciting part for me, because working for the Department of Corrections, Division of Probation Parole, I get to see both sides of when they're incarcerated, all of the opportunities that the Department of Corrections is now offering, which includes education, making sure they have that high set, or even higher education with Ashland University, or industrial-based certifications that they're able to come out with, anger management, substance abuse, everything that we could possibly think of that could help change somebody's life for the positive. We want to give them those tools to return. So that is something that's offered within the Department of Corrections facilities, as well as our local regional reentry center at Lafourche Parish Correctional Center. And both sheriffs locally, both Sheriff Weber and Sheriff Saunier, are highly involved in reentry and very proactive. So it's great for our community. But we also have other programs, whether it's transitional housing programs that's funded through the Department of Corrections. We have our day reporting center that's tied to our office, where we can refer those on parole or felony probation into the day reporting center. They do some of those behavioral modification therapies. They do anger management, parenting, workforce commissions involved. So everything that we could think of within someone's life to make sure we get them on track to roll into a program like what we're creating with the food bank, and making sure that food insecurity is addressed as well as just an addition to everything that we're already offering, because the food voucher program, I guess, that we're working on is going to be able to be issued from those case managers at the Regional Reentry Center at Lafourche Parish Correctional Center, as well as at Terrebonne Jail, as well as through our community incentive grant at Goodwill. Those case managers, all of these people are dealing with these lives and making changes.
And it sounds like there's a really good system for trying to figure out basically needs assessment prior to their reentry.
Yes.
What is the need? You know, in my mind.
And the risk.
Right, that's exactly right. And we're talking about kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs here, talking about making sure, do they have a place to stay, or do they need housing help? Do they still have some problems adjusting, kind of like Spud was talking about, adjusting to this new way of life? Do they have some anger management issues that are needed? Do they need food? It's really a great opportunity, and now that we're seeing we have these vouchers that are an option, this voucher program, and not only will we feed you, but we'll show you our operation so you can have some operational education. And what warehouse doesn't need somebody else who's very efficient in using a forklift?
several different kinds of forklifts too. Pallet
Yeah.
jacks. We have 3 different types of forklifts at the food bank. We have an exterior one called a donkey. Ever seen those trucks, those flatbeds with the shingles on the back and that big thing on the bed? Well, we
Right.
got one of those.
Right.
And a flatbed to put it on.
Right.
We also have a standard one, and then we got one of those kinds you see at the Home Depot that goes like, they stand up in it and it turns real tight and it goes very tall. So you're gonna have to learn to work all 3 of those, plus pallet jacks, and we have an electric one of those. But also, the process we go through about where we're gonna put stuff, predicting, okay, we got so many homeless boxes we need to make. We need to have so many, okay, every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday we have distribution. Well, this Saturday we expecting this many people. This time we got to load up and bring it to Gaines, or we got to bring it to Shriever, to Fletcher. So all these things about just, it sounds to you and me pretty simple. I can't do it. I'm an educated man, and I can't do it. That's Cheryl. So Cheryl Skinner is our warehouse manager, and she's going to be overseeing all that and teaching these people how this kind of stuff works. And they should be able to walk into any warehouse place like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or any of the 6 companies that we got lined up to do this. I mean, and the bottom line is keep your nose clean, learn the skills, and you will walk into a good job.
Yeah, and again, you bring up the point that's so very important about giving them the opportunity
Yes.
to be able to make improvements. So an opportunity to be able to do that better than they did before, rather than them having this recidivism and returning because they can't get
Well, that's
anything
what
to
they
eat
know.
for their family.
That's
Exactly.
the problem with recidivism. They go back to what they know.
Right.
So we're trying to teach them stuff that they don't know that's better than the stuff they knew that put them in the slam to begin with.
Correct. Give them tools for the toolbox, so to speak.
Yeah, and again, I love the idea. It's such a wonderful thing for me, just from somebody who really loves this administration, planning, and organization aspect of what we get taught in school, seeing it play out right in front of us. Y'all are playing this out, and I got to tell you, from a program development side, this is fast.
Yes.
This came upon very quickly with both of you saying, "Oh, I have a need. Oh, I have an answer," and putting it together and making it work, and already having
Just a couple of
8
months.
slots
Yeah.
with 6 companies. That's remarkable to me. And so I appreciate that very much. And it's good to know that there are lots of options for kind of making their reentry program their own.
Oh, absolutely. You can tailor it to the individual, meet them where they are, versus creating something that everybody goes through the same thing.
Right.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work, especially in our culture. I'm going to go in South Louisiana. Everyone is so different. You have to tailor it to them and meet them where they are.
Yeah. And I love the fact that there's no gender restrictions here about what people can or
No,
can't do.
There isn't. The only restriction is, we have a couple of types of people getting out that we are not going to allow in.
Right.
But I don't want people to be concerned because we have volunteers.
Right.
Okay. And we rely heavily on our
Right.
volunteers. But we also have people who come in doing community service. Okay. Cheryl knows who they are. I know who they are.
Right.
Lawrence knows who they are. 2 other people know who they are. Everybody else they're just a volunteer.
It's
You
just
don't know why
another
they're there.
volunteer.
Same
Yeah.
thing with
there's,
these
There's
guys.
no
You're-
name tags
You're not going to know.
or scarlet letters, if you will,
No.
as
they're
you
gonna
referenced
have,
earlier.
They're going to have a lanyard,
A lanyard,
to make sure they
right,
belong
says who
in
they
the
are.
building.
About some of the new programs that are available, and Spud, there's lots of needs out there, and this reentry and providing food security for them is one of those. But y'all have so much going on over at the food bank.
We're talking about people who are food insecure, who are incarcerated and coming out, and they may slip back into their old ways. But
Right.
we're also talking about people who are food insecure right now, who've never done anything wrong, that we are seeing in our lines. People, you normally 1.5% new people showing up on distributions. We're over 5% now.
Wow.
We are now feeding over a third of all the elderly in the parish, like 36%.
Wow.
And Council on Aging be kind of nice. Okay, leave it at that.
Well,
But there's so many more people are coming, and plus the cost of shipping
Right.
is going up.
Cost of the food
Cost
itself.
of food and fuel is going up. Everybody, every family at least is going to have about an additional $350 a month to cover food and gasoline and things like that. So it's all of us. Everybody's got a $350 note. I can't afford an extra $350. I got to go find more money, and I got to go find more food at better rates for the people that we already service. Not to mention the 5 to 7% of people who are going to be coming in through the course of the year. In 2019 we fed 10,000 people. In 20, we did 21,000.
Right.
In 21 last year, we did over 26,000, and we are already on track to top
To surpass
30,000 this year.
Wow.
Wow.
And it echoes the need that's out there. And here so many people are still in hurricane recovery. There's a lot of people who don't have a kitchen. And so it's ironic that as we're sitting here
Yeah.
talking to you, this weather event that came through this past week or if you're watching the show, and or last week on Tuesday, this weather event, we had to gather 2 families into another family home because we're afraid the electricity would go out, or we would have trouble with the wind and storm living in a trailer.
Us and several churches, we delivered a lot of stuff to the municipal auditorium for in case somebody loses their roof or they're living in a tent or a trailer and they felt scared. So I mean, that's another thing, you know,
Right.
that we normally have our regular processes we got to do. Got to put all that aside and create enough stuff to feed possibly 100 people who are going to be stuck in the municipal auditorium.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
there's just
It's
a lot of need.
There's a constant need, and we see that those needs are increasing. And like you said, the cost of living right now much higher than it was just 2 months ago. You know, for some of the world events that are impacting and
inflation is
affecting
going to
us.
rise. They're
Right.
talking about raising the Fed's going to raise rates 6 more times this year. So
Wow.
get ready. And a lot of people are going, oh, you go to the grocery stores and half the shelves are empty. Oh, well, we'll go to the food bank. Well, where do you think we get stuff from?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
we don't
exactly
go we
right.
don't go to grocery stores. We buy from wholesalers, but it's like it's harder to get it. We're competing now with grocery stores.
Right.
You
So
know?
the same empty shelf you may see at a grocery store means that the wholesaler could not deliver or couldn't get
Or they
enough
got the
there.
stuff sitting in a reefer someplace, and you can't get a truck driver to go pick it up and bring it in.
Right. And again, going back to this reentry program and why it's so important is helping to feed people and helping to teach people. You know, it's almost like giving them the fish and teaching them how to fish as well,
And how to cook
biblically.
it.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah. You know, and I love that. And yeah, teach them how to cook it and cook it
too.
different ways.
Yes,
Well,
so
we'll be
that
doing
you
that
have
on the
more
30th. Lisa
opportunities.
Schilling's going to come with some Paul Prudhomme chefs.
Right.
To the food bank, so I guess we'll see you over there.
That's
Get the fish
exactly
sandwich.
right. And so I'm glad you referenced that because on March 30th, there's going to be
Yeah.
this really interesting event that South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority has joined forces with some of the local chefs in the state to come in and cook for right over at the food bank.
Yeah.
Talking about cooking.
That's exciting.
So I'm going to be over there. I'll be first in line with my plate.
I'll be behind the mic, so I'll have to follow you, Spud, which is normally.
I'll bring you a plate.
Oh, well, that's awfully
You
nice.
know,
See,
I'll bring it, and I'll have Hester to bodyguard me so somebody trips me
That's
on the way there.
exactly
Somebody
right.
takes
To
your plate.
protect the plate. And you know, it's really interesting what you're doing is, and I don't want to be careless about it, but you guys are developing programs to protect what people need. And we're talking about all the different things that y'all do to feed people. This event that's going to take place on March 30th is about bringing awareness to how people can cook very creatively with the foods that are provided from the food bank and the need that's there from the population that you deal with. So we got about a minute and a half left. Let's just talk about how exciting it is to do this program and work closely with the food bank.
Oh, it is. It was a big missing piece. You know, I've done this for 3 years, so I've made lots of contacts, have lots of resources. So when they came to me and said, "Hey, we have the potential to do this particular program. Is it something we can build?" Absolutely. That was my missing piece. That was our missing piece.
Right.
So it is very exciting to be able to offer the opportunity to people to be able to get up on their feet, learn a trade, or you know, use
Skill.
skill, a trade, use that forklift certification that they may have gotten inside while they were incarcerated, but have no experience.
Yeah.
They offer
They're
the
going to have
experience.
it.
Yeah.
Because 8 to 4, we don't play around. We got a lot of work to do over
Right.
there.
And listen, I've been there, and I will tell you, it is one of the most impressive
It is.
process that I've ever seen. The
Well, we got it down
process.
to it's a science, but it's an art form. I mean, and it
it's where
the
art
way
meets
it
science.
operates is entirely dependent upon the personalities and the skill levels of the people who are there, and we take advantage of all of that and put the most efficient people in this thing and the most dedicated people in that thing. And when we get these people coming in, we hope that's going to spill off into them, and that's just going to perk their personalities and their enthusiasm that much more, and
Right.
that's going to make them just that much better to know how much of their life they wasted doing stupid stuff,
Yeah.
and then come back and
Better.
contribute to the community.
Speaking of better, y'all are making our communities better. Thank you both for what you do. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Keith.
And that will do it for this edition of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming when we continue.